sit here today with Svitlana Zakrevska and from Ukraine, and on Zoom we have Rebecca Rapparini from Italy and Oksana Malchenko also from Ukraine. So we are live streaming now on YouTube, meaning that anyone watching us on YouTube, if you have questions for Svitlana and Oksana, please write them in the YouTube chat, and Rebecca will moderate this question session a bit later today. And for those who want afterwards, we will also offer Loesje creative text writing. So if you want to join the text writing, also please tell so in the YouTube comments, and we will send you this link in a moment. So welcome, Svitlana.
Thank you.
Yeah, could you shortly introduce yourself? And we already said you are here in Berlin, but where do you work? Where are you active?
As it was already said, I'm from Ukraine. Initially, I'm from Donetsk city, Donetsk region, which is now suffering from hard battles. And afterwards, I was relocated in Kiev, and now I am in Berlin. I am a director of NGO Alliance for Civil Rights. And we implemented lots of projects since we were established in 1998. And now, last year, during the war, we also provided some youth work about what I will tell a little bit later. Now I'm in Berlin. I do some projects in partnership with CRN, Contemporary Research Network, and these projects are also related, mostly these projects are related to adult education and young adult education.
And what about Loesje Ukraine?
And Loesje also is a very important part, partner of our organization. I think we are partners from 2010, so it's 12 years now.
Okay, thank you, Svitlana. Then we go over to Oksana and ask it the same question: where are you, and who are you, and where are you active today?
I'm from Sumy, Ukraine. Sumy is a city on east-north part of Ukraine. We located only 32 kilometers from Russian border, and I'm a head of organization named Equal Opportunity Space. We are working mostly with youth. Before this period of history of Ukraine, we made some projects for children and youth, and another direction of our organization is youth tent camp. Just now, territory of this youth camp is not able to use because it is on the border too, and just now this community are under fire, and that is why last year we tried to change our work, and mostly now we work with communities.
Okay, thank you, Oksana. Then it would be nice to hear from both of you, so I start with you again, Svitlana, before the war. But okay, I know in your case there was two times fleeing the war, but can you tell a bit about the activities you have done? Yeah, so since 98 is a long time. Tell a bit more about the activities.
Okay. Before war, but after we become ADPs, internally displaced people in our country, we did lots of work for ADPs in our country, including young people also. We did several projects to protect their rights, like internally displaced people. And also we did lots of international work in cooperation with our international partners, organized youth exchanges, youth work, training for youngsters, training for youth workers, and also we started, on my opinion, very important topic, like dialogues between communities, and also peace building activities. For when we worked with youth using these topics, we also wanted to do this, always wanted to do this more on a more interactive way, more creative way. That's why we widely used Loesje methodology because it's perfectly fit for dialogues and for communication between different layers of society. For example, we invited IDP youth and youth from hosting communities, and they did Loesje writing, and they said that it was like a really good tool to exchange opinions, to become friends, to find common grounds for future cooperation.
That's very nice to hear. Yeah, thank you. What about you, Oksana? What activities were you busy with in your work before the war?
We started our organization in maybe 6 years ago, 6 to 7, and the main activity of our organization for first 3 years was children's camp. We did this camp for children from Lugansk and Donetsk region, and the main topic of this children's camp was peace building, non-violent communication, and educational camp combined normal children's camp with sport, with river, with fire, with some chill, and of course some educational part about human rights and other very important topics. And of course, last 2 years, another direction of our activities was some kinds of projects with communities in Sumy region. And the main thing is youth worker program, in which we try to learn people who work with youth and people who want to make youth work on their territories. And last 2 years we make different projects for these communities, to find these people, to learn these people, to make these people stronger, and make some changes on a local level. Because in villages and in rural territories of Sumy region, youth work is not so, how does it say, not so popular. Children only go to school and have some maybe sport, and that's else. And that is why we spent a lot of time to popularization of youth work, of some activities, some educational activities, and 2 years we spent time to learn adult people how to do, for example, club of Dance club. How does it say? What is this? It is a club of documentary films. How to see documentary films and discuss with youth. Another example is how to use games, normal how games, something like this. Doesn't matter. Games for learning, for example, human rights. And of course, we find another activities how to make human rights education interesting and fun. And we learn adult people how to use these methods with youth. It was our work.
Thank you, Oksana. I think you are referring to like non-formal educational games, right? I think yes. Very nice to hear about your activities before the war. Then what has been possible since the war broke out, or let's say the escalation of the war almost a year ago? So Svitlana, how has it been for you?
Before the war, we developed a very interactive educational course for youth based on going into circuit methodology and related to mental health of youth. Mm-hmm. But during the war, this topic became even more important, and we updated this course, redid it, added some stuff there which would help to youth to be to teach youth how to provide self-help in a very urgent or very stressful situation. And all the previous year we provided, we tried not to only implement this course but also integrate this course in a school curriculum. So we worked widely with teachers, school psychologists, youth workers, sometimes with librarians, and we trained them as facilitators for this training course. Afterward, they were supposed to provide their own activities. We provided supervision for them, corrected mistakes, if any, and afterwards we got a common, very big common event in Chernivtsi region, and it was really fruitful and lots of thoughts to think about, and I understand how important this tool we developed, and also this tool is now have a very big interest and widely promoted for Ministry of Education and so on. So now I'm working to answer questions, answer letters of people who are interested in this course and thinking about its prolongation.
Wow, sounds really nice. So you did like, you educated multipliers, we can say, that they in their turn.
Yeah, currently we have more than 100 facilitators educated all around Ukraine, and especially with the focus on the regions which influenced by this conflict most.
Okay. So also in your own, like the Donetsk region, and you've been able to work there as well?
Unfortunately, it is not possible to work now in Donetsk and Lugansk region because the front line is there, and we prepared some facilitators before war from this region, and now I have letters from people who managed to escape from this region, from this hotline, and they they took very few things with them, but among these very important things, they took these visual aids for this game. And now I have letters from them, for example, from Khmelnytsky region, from Lviv region. Svitlana, we are here and we keep on working with this too. And I'm really inspired with this.
It sounds highly inspirational.
Yes, yes.
So most of these 100 people you managed to educate now during the war?
Yes, during the war, yeah.
Wow.
I can say that it was a very hard task because several times when we have already when all the preparation work have already been done, and participants were on their way to this certain city, we got the information that this city is being shelled, and we had to contact all the participants who were on their way just to get out of the train in the nearest station and go back home. So it was like wasting of our energy, wasting of our time, and because we had to prepare everything from the very beginning in different locations. But I'm very happy that participants were not disappointed with the situation, and they moved to another location, and we managed to provide everything from the very beginning again.
Wow, that's very impressive. Needs a lot of patience, I think, to work.
Lots of patience. Last year, I would say my psychology was destroyed because of this. But as I said, when we gathered together in Chernivtsi, so many people, and their eyes shined, and they said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to update it for another target group, we want to add something, let's think about movies, let's think about cartoons, let's think about something else. I felt like, oh God, all these efforts were not in vain.
Yeah, no, definitely, very nice. How about you, Oksana? If we go the same to you, what has been able for you to do since the war broke out? What kind of activities?
First of all, we started with humanitarian projects. We work a lot with humanitarian needs, and it is a new point of our activities. And of course, we have some volunteers projects. For example, we have 2 teams. One of these teams are teachers of first aid, medical aid, and they learn adult people how to make some easy first aid help. Medical help, and another team is team that manage some medical stuff for communities, collect and transport to these communities. And from August we started to make some projects for our communities. Just now we work with all border communities, all communities that are in the list of named community under fire, and all these communities are on the border of Ukraine and Russia. And all these communities mostly every day have bombing, and that is why schools are closed. Some sport infrastructure is closed because government is not very happy that in such communities
Yeah, Oksana, I think we lost you there, the sound, for a minute.
Communicational possibilities, because people sit at home and people need to communicate. Possibilities to communication and different.
Okay, unfortunately, I think there's something wrong with
this internet.
Oksana, we lost you there for a minute.
Yeah, something wrong with internet. Sometimes we have these problems with electricity and with internet. I said that people in these communities need some new possibilities to communicate, to make something for emotional sphere, and to be in normal style, lifestyle. And we started this project, a big project, with youth in 16 communities. We made very small activities, workshops, sport small activities with very small groups, with no using any infrastructure. We use this mobile street youth work, and it was very successful kind of activities. And now we are in the process of planning these years, and we discuss with our regional administration how to prolong these activities and how to help communities to be in this situation. What we do else? Yes, and we started to implement method of creative writing in our communities. We tried to use this method, and youth was really very happy to do something creative. And just now we are thinking about implementing project on this topic, maybe in summer. And of course, we are visiting our communities with these very short visits, with educational activities. We visit communities with different experts, with lections, with learning, with consultations in different points. And in this way, we tried to make communities stronger and make communities be able to live normally.
Okay, thank you very much, Oksana. I'm glad we got you back again with internet connection and everything. Before I go on to the next question, I would just like to remind our audience online that if you have any questions for Svitlana or Oksana, please write them in the chat, and Rebecca will moderate this in a little bit, so please ask questions there if you have anything to answer. We already touched a little bit about it from both of you, but how would you describe, how is the reality for young people in Ukraine now, and how is the reality for the youth workers? Like how are people affected?
The reality for young people is a sort of surrealistic, I would say, because they, in certain regions they do not go to school at all. In certain regions they go to school not regularly. For example, in Kiev, where my family is, children go to school, for example, in the morning. Afterwards, air raid siren, and they have to go to a shelter, bomb shelter. Afterwards, they go home. Next day, they say, okay, you will have classes via internet, and next day there is no electricity and no internet. So during last year the education was not regular, and this year is the same. Definitely teachers, youth workers try to do all their best to reach students and to provide classes after internet established and so on, but anyway, it's not, it doesn't sound like a normal school, normal in our understanding when you go to school, play with kids and so on. That's why lots of youngsters lost the opportunities for socialization, which is very important in their age. And it's one more important thing for youth workers to think about. That's why all the after school activities is very important. And again, if we are talking about Kiev, I know some youth workers which do really great job organizing the activities in premises which have shelter, and they can provide these activities in a shelter if it's important. Actually there are lots of opportunities in Kiev for youth to go somewhere, to have courses. Lots of courses are provided via internet, distantly, especially courses related to programming, doing cartoons, movies. It's very popular now for our youngsters, such kind of education. And it's very important that such kind of education can be really provided distantly, but also various creative activities like theater and so on. It's also very important because it gives the opportunity to youth to gather together, to socialize, to communicate, to develop their communication skills. But it's about Kiev, and if we are talking about smaller cities, even if they are not really affected by shelling, by some weird situation, anyway, they are affected by absence of electricity, because now Russian troops now they implement the strategy when they destroy critical infrastructure like electrical plants and heating system, water supply system, and so on. So it's there is no any city, any village in Ukraine which can live a normal life because the supply of electricity influences on everything. For example, no electricity, engine cannot work and cannot supply a city with the water. So no electricity, no internet. And especially in small towns, small villages, it's very painful because there are not so many specialists which could organize after-school activities for kids and so on. And it's really bad.
Yeah. And what about the mental health of the young people and the youth worker? I mean, we touched upon it a little bit, but it must be highly stressful. I guess a lot of people have a family member in the army, or they don't know where everyone is at all times. And can you say something more on that?
Yes, it's a very important topic now. I would say all youth influenced by this issue, because if even you still live in your town and your town never being shelled and so on. Anyway, you have relatives who are in army. You read this news which tell you how many people are dying, what is going on in other, and lots of people take it in a very big consideration, take it very personally. But especially this issue is burdening for people who are IDPs, because the teenagers or younger children who moved to another city together with their parents, sometimes they lost homes, they lost all possessions, they lost money, they cannot live the life, meet the standards of life they used to live before, and also they lost friends, they lost previous comfort. And now they somewhere in a small village where people sometimes speak different language than they spoke at home, and they cannot communicate. Maybe they are not accepted by teenagers, so they closed themselves, they become very sometimes rude to their parents, because they got lost, they do not know what's going on and who is guilty in this, and sometimes they blame their parents in this situation, and parents suffer also, because they cannot sometimes understand where is their fault, why their children start behaving like this. So it's a very, very burdening issue now in Ukraine.
Thank you, Svitlana. Then we go over to Oksana, and we'd like to hear from you as well. How is the situation, would you say, for the youth? I mean, you meet youth daily, both practically and mentally, for the youth and the youth workers.
The situation in Sumy region is the same practically, but we are happy, somehow happy, because Sumy region are not on rocket bombing. We have not rocket bombing as Kiev, for example, as Lviv, but we have every day artillery and mines. And it means that we have some possibility to do something when we have electricity. Mostly in working time, in working days, we have some kind of schedule of electricity. 2 hours we have electricity, 4 hours we have no electricity. And this schedule is a good idea, because in other places of our country people don't have schedule. And we have planned something. We have planned our work, we have planned some study sessions, we have planned some visits to communities, to youth, and it means that we have some possibility to do some youth work. And about youth, yes, we have this problem of IDPs. Our people are moving to Europe, moving to in other places. But for Sumy region, another problem is our unique IDP system, because people from border communities moved to another communities of this region, not for Kiev, not for Europe, only for another community, and the body, the administration of these communities have no information about how many people moved and how many people are here. And it means that we need to build some communication with these youth workers to realize how many people are now in this community. And sometimes we need to do this work every week, because last week we have this group, we will come next week, and maybe we can find these people in a place. And it means that we need to build some new ways of communication. And another problem for our territory is informational danger, because Russia monitoring all Telegram groups, and we can't inform population about some activities in open chats. We need to find another ways of informing, and sometimes it is hard because sometimes we need to find people in this territory who can write some messages to another people. These people write messages to another people, and this system sometimes very good, but sometimes not. And about emotional problems, yes, as well, people are living in not normal normality. They understand that it is not normal life, but we live here, and it means that we need to agree that this reality is good. Because if you not agree that this reality is good, it is impossible to live. And that is why sometimes we are joking about bombing, we are joking about no electricity, we are joking about the generators in every corner in the city or every corner in the village. We have these generators, and sometimes people react normally to very strange things, very dangerous things. For example, last week we made a workshop on first aid kit, and in one moment was this alarm of bombing, and people said, okay, it is not for us. And why? Because we know when this alarm for whole Ukraine, it is not for us. For us, special person sent SMS, and it will be for us. Because this special person know what the situation in the border, and this special person will send SMS for people in this territory. And that is why we can be very good in this moment and make something in this moment when all Ukraine in shelters. And it is very strange, sometimes very strange, but sometimes not. It is our life for last year. And of course, the big problem for territories is that we lost people, people are moving, people go to army, and for example, 6 of our partner organization not working now in youth field because they have no people who can do this. It's a problem because sometimes we need partners in the region who can help us. But when I call to some person, I go, okay, where are you? And I'm in the army. Okay, next, please. And that's the situation.
Thank you, Oksana. It's really, I think, helpful for us, useful to know and to realize kind of on all the levels, no? Which this, as you touched upon the bureaucratic level, there are so many levels that the war is affecting the work and the people. I think now it's time we go over to the questions from the audience. So I will hand over to Rebecca that will give us one or more questions.
Yes, hello everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to both of you. It was really amazing. It's a special and precious contribution for us to hear these stories because, I mean, it's kind of difficult for us to realize what is going on. So thank you deeply. And yes, there is a first question by Adventures, and he's asking, what can we do to support you?
I think it's a hard question because sometimes we doesn't realize what it can be. But for sure, I think the main support for us now is informing people about situation in Ukraine. informing people about reality in Ukraine. Why it is so important? Because 1 month ago, one of my colleague in Britain, she is IDP from Sumy, and I write in the letters that I can do something because we have no electricity, and it means that we have no internet, and it means that we have no mobile connection. And she said, why? It is only electricity, but because all these things are connected. And the main thing that when we have no electricity, we have no water, canalization, and other things. And the main thing that when in one place people have electricity, it is not guaranteed that in other place people have no this possibility to use internet when internet company is without electricity in this moment, but in another part of this city. And for us, it is not strange. But for people who live in normal reality, it is hard to realize how many things are connected in one big problem. And I think informing is a very big part of this work.
Thank you, Oksana. Should we ask the same also to Svitlana in the office, right?
Life is really complicated now in Ukraine. And also I want to say that I thought recently about, the metaphor, like we live, it's like you are underwater. You hear sounds through the water, you see the light, and but you are actually underwater. And people who are above this water, they cannot realize how to be under this water. And when we start doing projects, it's like, just when you got out of this water and you just start breathing and doing something, you're activating. That's why I think, from my perspective, the more we will be involved in projects, in various kinds of activities, the better it will be. Because some people accustomed to living under this water. They just say, like excuse for themselves, what can I do? I drowned. That's it. But lots of people are still want to breathe, still want to be active, just do not know reality changed, opportunities changed, and they do not know how to implement their energy. That's why my really biggest request, just let's do projects together. We will do projects in Ukraine, we will do projects here in Europe for Ukrainians, and believe me how many people will benefit from this.
Thank you both Svitlana and Oksana for this, very useful, and for the metaphor as well. Rebecca, do we have more questions from online?
Not at the moment. At the moment, this is the one from Adventures. It's the only one.
Okay, then I will ask here in the room, do we have any questions in Berlin live for either of them? Give me a second. No?
I had a question, but actually was already answered during the. So unfortunately, I wanted to know exactly how you were managing to work online with, but you already answered all my questions that I had. So thanks a lot for the very clear picture you gave us.
Then maybe we can follow up a bit on this, what Oksana said before with trying to uphold activities, but actually people are not there and things like this. I think you mentioned that the place where you used to host a lot of the projects, it doesn't exist now anymore, or it's not, like, can we elaborate something on this?
You mean in Ukraine?
The hotel, yeah.
In Ukraine it's not exist anymore.
Mm.
Because it was in Kramatorsk, Donetsk region, which is in the front line now, and we used to have a really big office, fully equipped, and it was very comfortable to use it because it was in the center of the city, and a big hotel was nearby, and we placed our participants in this hotel, and they can come to our office and have this training center. But hotel is totally destroyed now after shelling, and recently the location where our office was heavily shelled, so I have no idea is it survived or not. So I do not know, but it's not possible to work there. Yeah, but we work all around Ukraine now, so and have very little office in Kiev, and work all around Ukraine. So it's also possible to do lots of activities.
But some of your colleagues were also abroad, no? The same as Oksana said, some of them have also fled and are not.
Yes, some of our colleagues are abroad now. They are, most of them are in Germany, all around Germany, and some colleagues established refugee centers and work for refugee centers, for example, in Lower Saxonia, in Lower Saxonia, and in Potsdam, not Potsdam, Rostock. Near Frankfurt am Main. I forgot the name of this city also. So they have started doing activities for refugees, not only humanitarian aid, but lots of educational stuff. So everybody is very active.
That sounds like we are impressed. Oksana, you already talked a little bit about let's say logistical challenges of working with sometimes in shelters and with internet and electricity coming and going. How have you been able to? Can you work from your office? How do you have like your facilities, or how does that work?
Yes, just now I'm in our office. Sumy is a good place for working now, safety place, I think. In summer we had some preparations for these troubles. We bought a generator, we bought Starlink, we bought some candles, and that is why for my team we have possibility to work normally, but it is not for all organization because of financial issue, and that is why in Sumy and Sumy region now we have some movement of making collaboration with some organization, and why it is so important to have partners, because just now in our office 3 organizations have possibility to work, and we have another 2 or 3 places in city where we can work when we have no electricity or something like this. Something like this.
Thank you very much, Oksana. Now comes a very hard question. I don't know if you will be able to say anything, but what do you think of the future? Do we have any
chances to stop this war?
not any, yeah, like you think at the moment it will continue like this, or you have any?
I think every each Ukrainian person thinks about this a lot. I can just say what I'm thinking about. I have two scenarios in my mind, like optimistic and pessimistic. Optimistic is that eventually Russian troops will be thrown away from all the places which they are occupied and pay reparation and so on. I do not know how realistic is this scenario, but pessimistic is also comes to my mind. It's like without support of our Western partners, we cannot fight, because we do not have enough guns and anything. And that's why if one day our Western partner decide that they will not support Ukraine in this way, I think it will be a hard time for Ukraine. We have already seen how cruel can be these people who came to Ukraine from Bucha, from Irpin, afterwards from Kharkiv region, from Izum, from on every places from which they were thrown away one day. We saw mountains of dead bodies and tortured people and all other cruel things, which cannot possible to imagine in 21st of century, but still they happened. That's why I hope that we will have enough support to fight against this evil.
Yeah. Thank you, Svitlana. Oksana, what would you say? Do you have any visions for the future?
Of course, we're thinking about future just now, and as we are a border territory, Sumy region, we have a very long border with Russia, and this fact will not be changed. And of course, we will have victory, but border is border. And it means that we will have these neighbors for a long time, for many years. And for Sumy region, just now we are discussing what we will do when Russia leaves territory of Ukraine. But it doesn't mean that Russia stop bombing as now Sumy region. And it doesn't mean that Russia will not do something to destroy infrastructure, that Russia will not send people to Ukraine to make some diversion, some attacks, some informational attacks. And the Sumy region for many years will be territory of conflict. And it means that we need to think about this, what we will do with this, how we can find a solution, how we can stop this, how we can build system of this defending territory. And the next thing that we see now, Sumy region is a very strange territory because people in Sumy region have a lot of relatives in Russia. For many years people go to Russia and stay, and we think that after this war we will have a lot of people from Russia who will want to go to Ukraine. And we are not sure that we are very happy of this fact. And we need to think about this problem, because a lot of these people took part in killing our people, and we need to decide what to do with this. Are we ready to seek these people on our territory? We are not sure, and it's a problem.
So we slowly, thank you Oksana, we slowly need to wrap up. So I ask Rebecca, do you have any last words for Svitlana and Oksana?
I mean, actually, there are no questions anymore. I would like to thank you very much for everything you said, also because, I mean, as I said before, it's really difficult for us to have an idea, even just a far idea of what is happening, what can we do to help you and to support you. And yeah, also the part you were saying, Oksana, about the normalizing aspect, it's surprising. I mean, it's incredible also the power of the human being, you know, in order to readapt in different situations and to be stronger together in a shared fight. And nothing. I really wish you the best and good luck with everything. And you have all of our support, you know, all the time. And nothing. Thank you very much. It was really touching and emotional. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Rebecca. We slowly need to wrap up. So I would also, before I hand over to Svitlana and Oksana, to also say a couple of last words. That so as we heard already from Svitlana and Oksana, the international cooperation and doing projects and activities together is something that the Ukrainian youth workers are wishing for. So for those of you who might not have your own contacts in Ukraine, feel free to reach out to Loesje Berlin and we can connect you with youth workers, and maybe you have ideas for activities you can do together. Then, yeah, Svitlana, can we ask you to say a few last words to the international community watching?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for people who joined today's dialogue, communication. And also, if you go to Facebook and type Alliance for Civil Rights, you can easily find our page on Facebook, and you can find lots of videos from our activities, responses of our participants, and have more impression from our work. And thank you again. Hope for future cooperation.
Yeah, thank you, Svitlana. That's I'm sure it's very interesting for our viewers to go there as well. Oksana, can we ask you as well to say a few closing words?
Yes, I want to say thank you for community of Loesje, because for me this 10 days was very important time to realize how to deal with all these things in Ukraine and how people see Ukraine situation. And I want to say thanks that we have this help, we have this strong informational help from Europe, and it is very important to understand that we are not alone in this fighting. It is very important to realize that we are here, but we are not alone. We are part of Europe. We are part of big family of normal people, and sometimes we will be normal too. And I'm sure such activities like you do will help us. Thanks a lot. to this day, and it was very positive for me.
Thank you so much, Oksana. Yeah, we were very happy to have you here last summer and with your colleague as well. And yeah, thank you both for joining us today for this talk, and thank you, Rebecca, for moderating the online part. And yeah, this video will be published on Loesje Berlin's YouTube channel, so you can tell your friends if they didn't manage to join us today that they can still see it there. And yeah, we keep on. We welcome you, Oksana, to the Loesje family, and we keep you, Svitlana, in the Loesje family, and we hope we can cooperate a lot in the future and to, yeah, for everyone to do what they can to together make this as good situation as possible under these circumstances. So thank you again, everyone, for joining today, and Paco for doing the techniques. And yeah, have a good day, everyone.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.